Well, we stay on Rookie to Royalty. We did stay our journey in the FA Cup for this season. The second qualifying round, getting past the Altrincham 5-2 away from home. The plan for today was to come back for the fourth qualifying round, see if we could make our way through to the first round proper. The only issue being that our rotation team did not pick up a win away from home. Thankfully, they did grab a draw there in the second half, but it does mean a bit of a change of plans for today. We'll come back first and hopefully make our way through this replay before, fingers crossed, we then take on a team from the National League in that final qualifying round. Hello everyone and welcome to episode number 8 of Rookie to Royalty here on Shaun Does FM with Buxton FC. I hope you're doing well. And coming up today, we've got a couple of rounds, fingers crossed here, of the FA Cup qualifiers. As I said, ideally would not be coming back for this first game, but our rotation team got held to a 1-1 draw by Whitby Town in the away leg. So it does mean that we're coming back to the Tarmac Silverlands here for a replay. And if we make our way through that, then if we go forward and check out what's going on in the fourth qualifying round, once we make our way down here and see where Buxton are, we would take on Altrincham, who are from up in the Vanarama National League, but they are all the way down in 23rd, so to be fair, one of the worst teams in the National League, and also they will go into that game without a manager. So to be fair, we get through this first game while we take on a team from a higher division. I'd like to think we've got a sneaky chance there of making our way through to the first round proper. But this does come off the back of yesterday's episode with that second qualifying round win over Altrincham and also that narrow loss to Kidderminster Harriers. If you missed that one, I'll leave a link to it over in the top right corner. Still a bit dirty on that one. A great comeback, only to concede a goal in the 95th minute. So unfortunately, that was our second loss of the season. Only played one more game in the National League North before we had that third qualifying round draw, and that was against Whitby Town, who are a fair way down the Vanarama North. They are all the way down in 20th, so I was definitely expecting to beat these guys pretty comfortably. As you can see, it wasn't that comfy though. Two very late goals here in this game to make sure we did pick up a 2-0 win. Ryan Biggers there in the 88th minute, and then Tom Elliott in the 92nd. So we left that one very, very late, but thankfully did pick up a win, which it felt like we definitely deserve. So thankfully get 3 points there from a game you'd expect us to. In terms of what the league table does look like now, to be fair, not much change off the back of the end of yesterday's episode, but we're on top, 2 points clear of Kidderminster and Spennymoor. But with a game in hand, Southport actually might be the team who will be keeping a bit of a bigger eye on, playing the same games as us down there on 22 points, but also that is the case with Oxford, still very tight up near the top of that Vanarama North. And if we do make our way through this first game of today's episode, we'll play a few off camera before we come back for that fourth qualifying round. So there could be some change there in terms of that league table during the course of today's episode, but fingers crossed here, first up day, where we put out a much stronger team to start this one than we did for that away leg. We can beat Whitby Town, very similar to the team that we took on camera in yesterday's episode, but they did actually put up quite a good fight in that initial game. So we'll see here if we can get past them on a replay back at our home stadium. You'd like to think that would be the case, otherwise that will be a lot sooner than I'd like our journey in the FA Cup to finish here this season. And hopefully then we can take on a team from up in the Vanarama National League in that fourth qualifying round with home advantage. Might have a sneaky chance there of getting past them if that one goes to a replay. That kind of stuffs up my plan for today's episode. Maybe we'll show you guys the replay if that is the case, but hopefully can get past Whitby Town here. Otherwise, we do still have Chester coming up, which was the game we're initially going to come back for first up in today's episode. They've made their way back inside the playoff picture in the Vanarama National League North, but fingers crossed they end up focusing on these qualifiers for the FA Cup and can get the job done in terms of our team going back here to our overall best 11. Unlike that previous game, which was a draw as Whitby Town, they do go with a 4-2-3-1. The only change to our regular best 11, Charlie Pavey in central attacking midfield. Unfortunately, Caden Kelly just taking a bit of time here to get up to speed with how we do things here at the Bucks. We'll see how we get on here, expecting us to be pretty good here back at home, but unfortunately an early free kick here. Hawkins will take this one for Whitby Town, and that one does go very close. It comes off the post as Broadbent there takes his time to clear that one away, but thankfully we just deal with the danger. But an early warning shot there from Whitby Town, who of course did score first in that previous game, but now got a throw in here inside the final third. Unfortunately, can't quite find someone. A decent chance here for Whitby on the counter-attack, but thankfully Kirby there with a good tackle. Now Jake Leake makes his way forward down that left-hand side, and there for Fitzhugh as the game pauses for some reason. Not too sure why that's happened in the background, but unfortunately as that happens, a poor pass there from Broadbent, and Whitby again here with a chance to hit us on the counter-attack. To be fair, these are potentially the sort of games we should go with a different tactical style to our fluid counter-attack, but so far doing a good job for us here with the Buxton. Unfortunately, Fitzhugh there does get in behind off the back of us, winning that ball back, but that shot went straight into the path of the goalkeeper. He parries that one out for a corner as Kirby will float that one far post. I think there is Eastham who got his head to that, but unfortunately it goes over the bar. So a couple of chances for us there to open the scoring, but about 15 minutes in, still locked up here at 0-0. Our XG certainly a lot higher here than the visitors, but still scoreless as now we're back on the attack as Fitzhugh does get that ball back just outside the box, goes back to the league, and now out to Truman, who picks out Stobbs, who squares that one nicely for Girolamo, who will head that one home, but unfortunately, I'm not sure how he saw that one so late, but it was Stobbs who was offside. He went right there in front of the assistant referee with his flag up. That's why I was wondering why he was celebrating for so long, because surely you saw that flag up, mate, but unfortunately that goal does get disallowed. But now he gets another chance, and that one's a good save again there from the Whitby Town goalkeepers. Certainly, it feels like now the momentum is with us in this game, but still scoreless as Kirby will float that one far post. We try and get a shot off there, off target. Thought that we might get a second bite at the cherry. Unfortunately, that won't be the case, and as we're on the attack, that highlight does end. So unfortunately, we've got a half hour into this game, and it's still 0-0, but now we give away a penalty there. League has pushed over Doherty inside the box. But unfortunately, a free kick there. Only the second attack we've seen from Whitby Town. But thankfully, Truman comes up with a big save. So fingers crossed he'll be better here in this game than he was against Kidderminster Harriers in yesterday's episode, because it felt like there he might have cost us a couple of points in that one. But thankfully a big save there from the spot. Now a free kick there to Whitby Town. It comes off the woodwork, but Joe Wheatley is there to head that one home for his first goal of the season. To be fair, for most players, this is probably going to be their first goal of the season, being down below this Vanarama National League North. That one comes off the crossbar. Not the best angle there to see that replay. The reason that these days we are on that TV angle, but unfortunately right place, right time there for Wheatley does mean he can put it home. And we go 1-0 down in the replay with quite a strong team, which is very concerning, but thankfully might be on here to respond. But a poor pass there does mean that Whitby Town can hoof that one deep, and Broadbent thankfully is there to tidy things up with only 10 minutes left in the first half. This one not going too well. Another pretty average pass there from Kirby, but thankfully good tracking back. I think that was from Truman. That ball back for us now. Fitzhugh will try and put that one top left corner. Unfortunately, that one's not on target yet again. We'll demand more here with this 1-0 deficit, and hopefully from the goal kick now that we're on the front, but we can try and put the ball here in the back of the net. Truman goes looking for the top right corner, but unfortunately it's over Westwood as well as the crossbar. So we're getting off lots of shots here in this game. 9 overall, Whitby Town only 5, but they've had 2 more on targets. Definitely our attackers need to do a bit better going into the second half. A bit concerning considering how good our attack usually is here at Buxton. It should be the strongest area of our team, but so far a little bit weak here in this game. But again, we're on the front foot. Stobbs the Fitzhugh, and he finds Leak there doing some good work down our left hand side, makes his way inside the box, pulls it back there for Charlie Pavey, who will finally score our first goal of this first half. So thankfully Leak there makes up for that penalty which he did give away, gets the assist there, and Charlie Pavey, who has looked a bit better than Kelly recently, hence why he is in this team, puts that one away with a first time finish there. Goes almost straight in the middle there, but Westwood not quite expecting it to have that much power on it. And we finally get this back all square at 1-1. And more highlights here late on in the first half. Stobbs will pick out Pavey there, who moves out to our right-hand side, plays that one back in there for Cunningham, who floats into the mixer. It's headed away, but Kirby is now on the ball, takes on the shot, goes looking for that bottom left corner, but unfortunately it's just off target. Certainly off the back of conceding that first goal, we've fired into life here in this game, but unfortunately that penalty does mean, in fact, it wasn't the penalty, it was the free kick, because of course it was save the penalty from Truman, but they scored off the free kick, which came off the woodwork. So Leakby are actually not making up for that mistake. It was a bit of a misread there from our defence from that set piece, but either way, it's 1-1 here going into the second half. At the moment, most of our players out there are on decent enough ratings. I say that though, Cunningham actually on a 6.3, but don't think we've got too many good options on the bench for this game, so fingers crossed he can show us why we've kept him on here. Going into the second, a really good ball in there for Girolamo, but that one does get headed over the bar, so unfortunately still 1-1, but surely with all the pressure we're putting on here, we'll grab a goal sooner rather than later. that looked like a massive chance there at the far post, or the post where that corner got delivered, but unfortunately it looped up there straight into the path of Westwood, so it looked like a really good chance for us there to make it 2-1. And now Whitby are on the attacking effort there from just outside the box. That one comes off the woodwork, and Leap can clear it away. All sorts happening there from that highlight. Really should have been 2-1 to one of the teams. Unfortunately, not us, but also not Whitby, and it's still 1 also. Certainly, this game has been dragging on now as a competitive affair for a lot longer than I would like, as now we make our way here towards the last half hour. Cunningham is improving ever so slightly, so don't think we'll take him off just yet. And also Girolamo going a bit fairly now, though we might start to make some subs. So it's going to be here Yates coming on at right back, Biggers up top, and Fitzhugh actually not doing too well on a 6.5. Let's bring on Papaga at left wing. He's done a pretty good job in between episodes, the last couple that we have made our way through. Let's see what he can do there at left wing. So a triple sub, which hopefully will spark us into life here late on in this game. With now only about 15 minutes left, we have a throw in here inside of the opposition half. Rather fortunately, keep that ball there down our right-hand side. Stobbs, he'll cut inside. He'll play that one all the way back there to Broadbent. Now Truman back to Broadbent, plays the ball over the top there for Stobbs, who heads that one into the mix. But unfortunately, can't quite pick out their Vickers. But thankfully from that clearance, we do get that ball back over the top there for Papaga. It goes down to Pavey, who looks for a double. That one comes off the crossbar, just not hitting the target enough here, with the chances that we are getting. That XG now is heavily in our favour, especially considering that they missed the penalty. That XG would have got boosted from that chance they did have. We'll go attacking here late on in this game, but now a free kick here for Whitby, and they put it in the box, but thankfully hit it away, and Yates, he'll get us going on the counter attack. What can he do with those fresh legs down the right-hand side? Plays that one in there for Kirby, but that is a poor pass, but thankfully we get it back here and now start to get something going down our left-hand side. Papaga makes his way here just inside the byline, floats that one there, far post. Stobbs does keep it in the mixer, and Ryan Vickers will head that one home. So thankfully our backup striker actually doing a good job when Girolamo isn't quite firing. We finally take a 2-1 lead with only 7 minutes left here in this game, plus whatever injury time that we do have. So off the back of that, we'll drop back here to balanced and also start the time waste just a little bit, but finally take a lead here in this game. It's Papaga who gets things going here in this highlight. Stobbs there with a ball across the faces goal. Somehow Whitby Town don't deal with the danger there. Westwood probably should have came out and tried to punch that one clear, but thankfully for us that wasn't the case, and Vickers in the right spot to outjump those couple of defenders and put that one away. And now about to make our way here into 4 minutes of added time. We'll lower the tempo even more and time waste even more frequently, and let's hope no more highlights in this game for Whitby in particular, as Yates there does pick up a late yellow card. But thankfully we've just done enough, just being the key word there, to go through to the fourth qualifying round of the FA Cup. A little bit concerning it went so deep. That was a pretty average display in both games that we did play against Whitby Town. Their rotation, to be fair, not doing too bad considering they just pushed our first team quite close at the Tarmac Silverland. So that a bit disappointing, even though we did pick up a win. But thankfully we've now got a chance to make our way through to the first round proper. All we've got to do is beat one of the worst teams in the Vanarama National League in Altrincham. So hardly convincing, but we've made our way through here to the fourth qualifying round of the FA Cup, and fingers crossed here we can get past this Altrincham team, who are sitting in 23rd, not quite bottom there of the Vanarama National League, but still it's pretty bad for those guys. Only 2 points above Tamworth, deep inside of the relegation zone. So to be fair, couldn't have asked here for a better draw against the team from a higher division. Let's hope that we can pick up a win, especially with this one being at home, albeit not sure about that now off the back of that performance that we did just put out in that third qualifying round replay that you did see. But thankfully since then our form has been pretty good. First up, we took on Chester. Of course, these guys got off to a flyer at the start of the season, but then did drop down over the course of the last couple of episodes. Thankfully, a lot better here than we were in that third qualifying round. We pick up a 3-1 win, goals there to Pavey again in the first half, Vickers again early in the second, and Ethan Fitzhugh to put a blow on it there in the 91st minute. I will say at half-time in this game, we did make a change in our defence. Our wingbacks has felt like haven't been performing that well in the last couple of games that we have been playing. And to be fair, their average rating here so far not too great, both for Yates, Bleak, Cunningham, as well as the backup at left back, and Giblin. So because of that, we've actually switched them to fullbacks on support instead of wing-backs, and it did help out in the second half of that 3-1 winner over Chester. And then we backed it up by taking on Kersnashton, a team who are probably struggling here in the National League North, but thankfully just did enough to pick up a 2-1 win. You can see they're now all the way down at the bottom of this league table. Just a 2-1 win there thanks to goals in both halves to Di Girolamo, cancelling out that equaliser there to Doro at the 32-minute mark. So thankfully, we've picked up 2 wins from 2 since you were last here. You can see stats-wise from that second game, absolutely deserved all 3 points from that one. And going back to the Chester game, that one was a bit more even, but certainly in the second half, we got our act into gear once switching to those fullbacks instead of those wingbacks. That's the reason that we've stuck with that change. And in terms of the table, we are still on top these days, 3 points clear of Southport. So to be fair, we could afford to slip up once and might still keep hold of that top spot. Looking good here in our first full season at the Bucks to hopefully make sure that we are involved in the playoffs in some capacity, but currently sitting on top. Let's hope we can keep up this momentum and pick up a win in this final qualifying round of the FA Cup, a team that really you might expect us to beat, considering that we are at home and they're all the way down near the bottom of that Vanarama National League. You can actually see there a game that's already been played. South Shields in the same league as us, ranked a bit lower. They're down in 4th. They beat Tamworth, who of course you just saw, 1 spot below this Altrincham team that we are about to play. So based on that and being at home, I'd like to think here that we're capable of beating these guys, but definitely have to play a bit better than we did in that Whitby Town game. And also, we are rotating because some quite big players that we've got are quite injury prone, have been focusing probably a little bit too much on some of those games in the Vanarama National League North, considering that we're actually on top of the table. Probably want to focus a little bit more on promotion than an FA Cup run if that is the case, but still a bit of both would be quite nice considering how much money that we could get from this. Even those couple of wins that we've picked up in those prior 2 rounds have got us about £8,000, and that for a club of our stature is quite good, considering I think going to the start of the season we had about 40k in the bank. So far this FA Cup run is quite decent for us, even though we haven't actually made our way through to the FA Cup proper. Fingers crossed we do that here in this game. And in terms of the changes, we've got Yates at right back, Lindley and Elliott in midfield, and at the wings we've got Curtin out right and Bapaga out left. So certainly not our best team we're putting out here for this game, but unfortunately the timing of it not too great. That replay really did do us there in terms of trying to keep our first team fresh. Unfortunately a poor giveaway there early, but thankfully Altrincham there do put that one over the bar. So fingers crossed here we don't get off to a poor start like we did in that previous game and go 1-0 down, because against a team from a division above, they might have a bit more about them to actually put us away. But so far the highlights here have been in favour of Altrincham. Absolute horror show at the back there from Broadbent, but thankfully the striker's effort does get saved by Truman as it hits Broadbent in the back and he doesn't know what's going on. So a little bit dicey here early stages. They actually think there briefly that might be a penalty for them as Eastham there got pushed in the back. Thankfully not the other way around, but now it's a corner there for Altrincham. And Barnes will put that one away. So it's been a poor start for us here in this game. And finally, we're made to pay for it. They have a corner. They float it far post 2v1. Somehow Barnes there does outjump both Broadbent and Elliott. Broadbent start to this game not too convincing. And we go 1-0 down. So fingers crossed here we can find a way back into this one. Might need to bring on some more first teamers in the second half, as long as we don't get bumped before then, because early on we're not looking too good in this game. And Altrincham are back on the ball. So all the highlights here early in this one have been in their favour. Jones now starts to make his way down that left-hand side. Thankfully, we mark him well enough. Let's go back there to the goal scorer in Barnes. But some good short passing does mean that Crankshaw does get in behind, but thankfully just gets under that one a little bit too much. But another big chance there for the Vanarama National League team to make it 2-0 so far. Not up too much at all in terms of our attack. So it's been a poor first half from us here, even though we have the home advantage. Maybe switching to those fullbacks not helping us out as much as I was hoping it would. Also, we've put our central midfielder onto support instead of just automatic, so it's going to be quite consistent how we play here now with this Buxton team. But definitely making some subs here at halftime. Matt Yates, just don't like him, honestly. Isn't playing too well as a backup to Cunningham. So he'll come on here at halftime. Also, Curtin not doing well, so Stobbs can come on at right wing. So we'll change things there down our right-hand side. Was thinking about taking off the Broadbent, but to be fair, our options on the bench aren't too good to replace him as a centre-back. So hopefully he'll improve here in the second half. We'll tell the guys we still believe in them, but that first half was honestly pretty rubbish. Let's hope here's some first-team quality down our right-hand side. Might spur us on in early stages here. We do get a free kick, albeit it is down our left, not our right, but Lindley gets the ball there. The Ginger Ninja plays that one back to Eastham before receiving it back. Starts to make his way out right there before playing it back to our senior centre-back, one of the two in Eastham. Certainly looking a bit better than Broadbent so far in this game. But now we get going here down our right-hand side. Nice ball in there for Di Girolamo. Cunningham already starting to show some spark there down that right-hand side. But unfortunately, Di Girolamo there does miss a pretty big chance. We're still 1-0 down, but all of a sudden, the momentum might be shifting here in the second half. Di Girolamo, that pass there looking for Stobbs, not too hot, but then he finds Cunningham, who goes down, but Stobbs gets the ball back for us here. It goes back out to Lindley, but the Ginger Ninja makes like Jordan Henderson and plays that one all the way back there to the centre-back, nearly inside our own half. So it does mean we're back on the build-up here again. Elliott will play that one forward there to Di Girolamo. Goes back to Stobbs, and now Cunningham will put that one into the mixer. It was a long highlight. Was expecting something a bit more than a Kelly header that went over the bar. So unfortunately, we are still 1-0 down, but lots of highlights here early in the second half, and we are on the front foot. Thankfully, Di Girolamo wins that ball back for us here from that goal kick that we did see in our league. He just keeps himself in there and plays it for that Elliott. Nice through ball to Di Girolamo, who puts it away, but unfortunately looked a bit too good to be true, and indeed it was. He did straight offsides still. It is 1-0 here to Altrincham. Now they have a corner, thankfully. We deal with the danger, but if we concede now, I'll be pretty gutted. We've been all over them so far in the second half of this game, a complete turnaround from the first, but thankfully we got a block in there, and actually a nice pass there from Cully to pick out Papaga, who then puts that one into the mixer for absolutely no one, but thankfully they hit away poorly. Di Girolamo can get that one back for us. Go searching there for someone at that left-hand post. Unfortunately, Papaga can't quite get there in time, but does retreat to get that ball for us. Now Elliott plays that one forward there to Jack Stobbs, and finally off the back of 10 minutes of really good pressure to kick off the second half, we make it 1-1. So it's going quite similarly to that third qualifying round replay that you did see first up in today's episode. But finally, we get a goal here in this fourth qualifying round off the back of a real rip up there at halftime. A couple of subs that we did make down that right-hand side, and one of them pays off there as Jack Stobbs does pick up that goal. So fingers crossed here, the momentum is on our side. Just checking here on some player ratings. Broadbent still going fairly on a 6.5, but also Lindley and Di Girolamo on 6.4. So we'll see what we do with the final sub when we might need to think about making it. And now Lindley drops all the way down to a 6.3. So I think Kirby coming on might be better than Viggers for Di Girolamo. A much better player coming on instead of someone who's a lot worse than the option we've already got out there. So fingers crossed that final sub does pay off a highlight shortly off the back of that, but they pump that one too deep, and Truman is there to tidy things up. We pump that one deep, and Papaga actually does well to win that one, gets it there to Di Girolamo. Unfortunately, though, go looking for Stobbs far post. He is not quite there, so a chance here for Altrincham to make their way out from the backers. Now it's Redden who starts to cut inside there, and unfortunately, just don't quite keep the ball from that tackle. Long range effort there from Lewis, but thankfully, that one just goes too high, and it's still one all about to make our way into the final 10 minutes of this game. Will I need to re-record this game and play a replay? Let's hope not, because otherwise this will be a bit of a waste of time for me. To be fair, though, we might get some money from an away trip, but never mind. A lovely ball there from Tom Broadbent, who had been utter rubbish for us up until then in this game, and Di Girolamo can put that one away. Was sitting on a 6.2, so thankfully we did keep him out there. This game might not be a waste of time. We might be going through to the first round of the FA Cup propers. Off the back of that goal, we are now just going to start to time waste quite a bit with only 6 minutes left in this game. I even there change so that we're not actually countering. We regroup there when we do lose possession, do as much stuff here as we can to make sure that hopefully Altrincham don't get a chance late on in this game. That could be a big goal from Di Girolamo, depending on who we could get in the first round draw in the FA Cup, hoping that maybe we get a big team from League One or around then. There are some quite big clubs, of course, former Premier League clubs that we could take on with some big stadiums. That would be quite nice if we got one of those teams away from home. But Broadbent there with a lovely ball over the top certainly makes up for that error in the first half. To be fair though, it did come off his back and they still didn't score. Truman there did save him on that occasion, but we grab a 2-1 lead. Did just make sure there that full time wasting was on as we make our way quickly through that injury time, and again we leave it late but pick up a win in an FA Cup qualifying round and make our way through to the FA Cup. Probably can see that those changes that we did make down our right hand side made a massive difference. Cunningham and Stobbs with a big impact there in the second half. You could see in terms of highlights, once we brought those guys on, we were well and truly on the front foot. It was a game of two halves, Altrincham all over us in that first half, but then we made those changes and we certainly responded well in the second, and thankfully that late goal there, Dejarelam off the back of that nice ball from Broadbent, who, as I said, didn't have the best first half, it's fair to say, or game overall, but that rating now is quite nice off the back of that assist that he did pick up for the winning goal, which sees us go through the main draw proper for the FA Cup. So two pretty similar stories there in those games that we did play during the course of today's episode, just doing enough there in 2 games at home to make our way through the first round draw for the FA Cup proper. Now let's see who we could get here at this early stage. Of course, Tottenham Hotspur are the defending champions. Yeah, that's certainly something interesting that's happening in FM. To be fair, they probably still don't know that Ange doesn't actually always win trophies in his second year at a club. It's just a regular thing that he does do. To be fair, there's still a chance, just not a very big one with Tottenham this season. We'll see if that does actually happen. It did happen though in FM24 despite the data update. But so far, just keep an eye out here on some good teams that we could get. Peterborough United would be quite handy. Unfortunately, we don't get them. We want a big team here and a good stadium. Swansea away would be quite nice. And just noticing too, quite a few teams here popping up from below the playable division. So we've actually got one of those teams at home. That would be quite good, especially the way we've got through those last couple of games. Not too confident of our chances against the team from up in League 2 or above. But so far, we've got no one. Big Blackburn away would have been really useful, as would Reading, but it's just not happening for us so far here in this draw. Don't think Crawley Town would have been too good. Definitely not Kerrs National or Boston in our division. Cheltenham Town, maybe they get Lincoln. Now Sutton, they're in a similar level to us, so I don't think they'll be too useful. As Eastleigh or Merthyr might have been easy. Unfortunately, they got Wrexham South Shields below us. We get a home tie, so no big away day for us here in the first round of the FA Cup, but we get Fleetwood Town from one of the big leagues above the Vanarama National, so we'll see what those guys do look like here now that this draw has been completed. We've got Fleetwood Town in the first round of the FA Cup, and they currently sit in 12th in Sky Bet League 2. A little bit disappointing actually, we didn't get those guys away from home, but so far they've picked up 14 points from 11 games. Certainly they should be a step up from what we did just beat there down near the bottom of the Vanarama National League. A quick look at what they look like as a club. To be fair, 5,000 people at the stadium there in Highbury. So to be fair, if we were going to get a team like that in the FA Cup, quite happy we actually got them at home, considering our stadium not too much smaller than this. Actually, that's not that bad a draw for us, considering now unfortunately didn't get a big team. But if we can get past these guys, then maybe that would be the case in the second round. But they're mid-table in League 2, albeit expected to finish up in 5th. So this could be a pretty tough tie coming up for us, probably first up in tomorrow's episode. The manager likes to play 5 at the back, which could make things quite interesting for our semi-pro lads here at Buxton. And there are 2-star reputation clubs. That definitely will be quite a tough test for us there in the first round of the FA Cup. But thankfully, we've made our way through that far, albeit only just off the back of those very, very scratchy wins over Whitby Town and Altrincham in today's episode. But that will do it for this one. If you enjoyed that, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. We'll probably come back tomorrow, play that first round of the FA Cup just in case we somehow make our way through the second round. Might be able to include that too. To be fair, in between now and then, we've got Southport and what is quite a big game in the National League North, because that's a top of the table clash. But considering it's FA Cup time of year, we might not be focusing too much on that, but that certainly is a massive game even this early in the National League North season. But with us making our way through the first round of that FA Cup, we'll come back and take on Fleetwood, see if we find a way to get past them or even take that one to a replay. If we don't, South Shield's not doing too badly in the National League North either, so we'll probably come back and play those 2 games. But if we get past Fleetwood, then we'll see what might be happening in the second round. But either way, there'll be some first round FA Cup action coming up in tomorrow's episode as we host Fleetwood. So until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.